Come on.
Football Power Hour.
Ladies and gentlemen, we in here like swimwear. Big shout out to you for being here. It's a beautiful Tuesday. Yeah. Come on, it's a Tuesday, and you know what's special about this Tuesday is we got Champions League football to watch. But before we get into that, we have to talk about the weekend. We have to talk about the game that Manchester United played versus Everton. If you're new to these parts of town, ladies and gentlemen, we always do this after every Manchester United game. We talk about each player's performance, give them a performance evaluation grade and a performance remark based on how they did in that particular game. I'm excited to share these grades with you because I let them simmer for a bit, more than 24 hours, baby. And you know what? We're going to talk about it. My name is Botswana Papi. This is the Football Power Hour. Let's get the show going.
Bruno Fernandes. It's Martial. Just waiting on the back post. Surely he'll be found. And scores first. Premier League goal at Old Trafford.
All right. First things first. We got the 3 points. That's the first place where we have to start from when we're looking at this game, going back into it and being like, you know what? There's always things we could do better. There's always areas to improve. But the main point is we have to just cherish the moment that we got 3 points. We managed to keep up to pace with the Premier League. The rest of the men them in the Premier League have been doing their things, and now it was time for us to do our thing. And guess what? We did our thing more than twice with 2 goals, a 2-goal cushion. Now, the last time we got a 2-goal cushion was in February 4th, if I'm not mistaken, versus West Ham. It was actually a 3-goal cushion. But before that game, it was Gen versus Wigan. And if you go into the Premier League, you have to go back to December 23rd, again versus West Ham, while we won 2-0. And that was at home. That was because, where West Ham, where we lost 2-0, my bad. We went to West Ham's home. And we got done by Jared Bowen and Mohamed Kudus. You remember when Kudus was sitting on the advertising boards? That's pretty much the last time we were 2-0 down in that game and didn't fight back. So as I want to correct what I was saying, is like the last win was Manchester United versus West Ham at home. Man United won 3-0. But on the return fixture, obviously West Ham beat us 2-0. But prior to that, the last other comfortable defeat that we inflicted on an opposition team was Bournemouth in December 9th. So honestly, they are few and far between when we have convincing performances. Most of them have been confusing. Most of them have been feeling like we're scraping through. We're just getting by, just to get by, just to get by, just to get by. FC, that's who we are. Anyway, let's go ahead and look at how each player performed every player that started, like we always do. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the grades. Come on. All right, the grades that we're looking at is versus Manchester City. We did this obviously versus Man City, and I think the lineup did not change extremely. Did not change by that much from the Manchester City game. We know Onana started, and you know what? Let me hit the grades. Boom. So Onana, clean sheet versus Everton. It has to be an A-. Anybody that feels differently, I would like to speak to you and ask you why Andre Onana deserves less than an A-, because at the end of the day, he managed to jump up to second position in terms of clean sheets, and he is doing his thing. Onana, good form continues. I'm not going to say excellent form, but we have to also give him credit for the saves that kept us in the game, that kept it a clean sheet, and those moments are commendable and we recognize them, Andre. And honestly, I like to see this new Andre, post AFCON Andre, as I like to call him. He is doing good. We need to send him to Africa more and more and more and more times. That's my take on Andre Onana. But I really want to just say he performed well. He handled a lot of his saves with care, and it's one of those where we say, "Well done, you've made us proud." Okay, Andre Onana aside, let's go to my man Diogo Dallo. Diogo Dallo. He was this time around not as effective offensively, but he was also not really what's the word? He was not extremely terrorized or extremely tested in that defense, because if we remember correctly, Diogo Dallo was on right back and Mikolenko and McNeil would try to sort of take the ball to his side, but Garnacho and Dallo worked together defensively, and I want to just say Diogo Dallo this time around, he held his own defensively. We did not see him get exposed, but not as effective offensively. That is what I'm say about him, and give him just a solid B, B plus. It's more like a B plus, but I'm just going to call it a B here. Rafael Varane, field marshal. That's the comment from the Manchester City game. But today's this weekend's performance, it was also nothing short of a calm, composed, and solid at the back. He is Rafael Varane, Champions League Varane. I feel like is in the building, and he deserves a B plus. I don't know if you disagree with me. He made sure that Calvert-Lewin was always marked, and also before Calvert-Lewin, who was a striker again, Beto was non-existent, and he handled him and Johnny Evans. You guys, you handled Beto and Dominic Calvert-Lewin well. That I wouldn't say well with capital because like they didn't really also do incredible. It was just sort of shadow defending, making sure you win your duels when the ball is crossed in. So Rafael Varane and Johnny Evans for me, B plus, A minus. Matter of fact, Johnny Evans was a little bit more class than Rafael Varane. I'm gonna give him an A minus. A minus for Johnny Evans, B plus for Rafael Varane. And if you disagree, let me know why. Okay, let's go to Victor Lindelof. He started off a little bit shaky, but as just like Diogo Dallo, he was never really exposed. Right? He was never really exposed at the back, so I feel like it's an A minus because Johnny Evans got an A minus. I'm gonna give Lindelof a B plus. And matter of fact, when we're looking at everybody else's grade, I feel like Johnny Evans should be an A, Onana A minus, Lindelof A minus. But we won. We got 3 points. Let me review it. Okay, Johnny Evans gets a solid A. Onana A minus, Varane B plus, Dallo B plus, Lindelof A minus. Since we're being generous. Casemiro, who was embarrassed by Phil Foden in the game prior to this time around, he also had moments where he was careless at the beginning of the game. Field marshal, you know what? Casemiro needs to pull his socks. This is like a report card. If I am going to go show Casemiro's parents, I'm going to say Casemiro is not concentrating in class. He got a B minus type of performance for me. I do not know if Casemiro is getting enough sleep at home, has he changed his room? What is going on with Casemiro? Please sit down and have a normal parent to child conversation with Casemiro and figure out what is going on with him psychologically. Is he having a breakup with somebody that he really loves, or his crush is ignoring him? What is going on with Casemiro? because something clearly is not right now. And he started the game with thinking about his off-field things. That is my guess. That is my speculation. But at the end of the day, he grew into the game, but he definitely needs to raise his level. He needs to pull his socks. That is what I'm going to say about Casemiro. Now, Casper. Let's go to Casper, the Scottish Casper. I'm talking about Scott McTominay. Scott McTominay started in a more advanced role this time around. And you know what? With his limitations, I think he did well. Given his limitations. Limitations. He did. Okay, given Scott McTominay's offensive limitations, this guy is not necessarily the most creative guy, but he'll be given sometimes roles that require a creative player to be able to be really effective. And Scott McTominay, what I'm just gonna say about him is like, as a second striker, he works well. And this is, we could see it was a little bit more sort of like, he's more effective when you have Rasmus Højlund in the front. Now, if you have a guy like Marcus Rashford, you're pretty much just wasting Scott McTominay, because somehow they do not know how to open up space for each other, or the one be a decoy for the defenders, or maybe the defenders just don't really fear Rashford that much, and that is why Scott McTominay ends up becoming less effective. But at the end of the day, I feel like there was one or two good moments where he played Garnacho with a really nice ball that Garnacho could have done better with. But at the end of the day, he did well given his limitations. I'm going to give him just a solid B. No B plus, no B minus, just a solid B. Now, let's go to the captain. He took the all-important, the first pen that Alejandro Garnacho won. He scored that. You needed the calm composure. Not only that does Bruno Fernandes deserve flowers in this game for doing that, he gave the second penalty to Marcus Rashford. That altruistic captain mentality that that he's like, I am the most reliable penalty taker in the team. Everybody knows that. I'm the number one. The manager has said that. But Rashford is also a penalty taker, and I'm going to recognize him as my colleague and say he needs a boost of confidence. Go ahead and give him. Now, some people can look at that on the surface and be like, no player should be given charity penalties to boost our confidence. Rashford needs to back himself up and pick up his form himself. But hold on a second. I'll say to those people, whoa, hold on. Get off that high horse. Look at what Kai Havertz is doing right now. Look at the season that he's having. Don't you remember Kai Havertz? We used to call him the original 007. Kai Havertz has turned his season around. He is no more. You can't play this music and mention Kai Havertz in the same name. No. It'll be really, really disrespectful to Kai Havertz because he was given a charity penalty. You remember? Late last year, Kai Havertz was not finding form. Almost 7 games into his Premier League turner at Arsenal. And then he gets a charity penalty from Odegaard. And Kai Havertz's season ends up turning around. There's a lot of other factors that came into play, obviously, to make Kai Havertz who he is today in the Premier League, but he's one of the top performers. He's one of those people out there that when you're talking about signings that are very important to a particular team, you have to mention Cole Palmer for Chelsea, Kai Havertz or Declan Rice for Arsenal, but the Endo for Liverpool. The list goes on, but I'm gonna praise Bruno for his altruistic efforts and say part of that goes to the captain's responsibility, and he's going to get a B plus A minus from me. Now, tidy Kobe Mainoo. Let's talk about the young man who is... Cameroon has a scandal right now about players that have falsified their age. Now, I'm not saying anything about Kobe Mainoo. I'm just going to leave it right there. We have struck gold with this boy. You can tell he is the level that we need Man United players to be. He has the goods. Players that have the goods, there are players that don't have the goods. And Kobe Mainoo, Didn't need to have to score the first penalty for me to give him a B plus type of performance. For me, his performance is in the levels of Rafael Varane and also Dallo in this performance. A little bit below Johnny Evans, but I would almost say up to par with Onana's level. So Kobe Mainoo deserves the B plus A minus. So I'm gonna give him a B plus because he's still young. I don't want him to get into his I don't want that to get into his head. All right. Let's go to Marcus Rashford. He scored the penalty. He also first penalty. He also had a contribution in great finding Garnacho for first pen. A lot of people will not even remember that, but it was Marcus Rashford's pass to Garnacho that led to Garnacho receiving the ball in the box and doing the little trickery on Tarkowski, or was it Mikolenko? I think it was Tarkowski, and that was signs of fluidity that's starting to improve in our offensive players, and Garnacho and Rashford are starting to trust each other more and more. Not only that, I'll even go further with Rashford and say this time he has, since this is Rashford's report card, I say he's starting to track back. He's starting to do the simple things that we require for him to do. And this is really, really, really something that I want to mention to the parents and say, keep turning that boy's phone off, delete those apps, because he's starting to do this homework that he's supposed to do. So tracking back, I'm going to put it in the remarks and say, I noticed it. Rashford, keep going. Okay? That you earned yourself a solid B+. Now, Alejandro Garnacho. This is our own Michael Owen, our own Raheem Sterling. He has won 2 penalties. Now, correct me, I don't remember the last time I saw a Man United player in the Premier League winning 2 penalties in one game. He was so good, so confident in his abilities, to the fact that Marcus Rashford even himself won a penalty. Jesus! Yes, the phase of play was marginally offside, but Marcus Rashford was able to sort of say, hold on, if Garnacho can do it, I can do it. This is a skill, guys. This is a skill. When I say Raheem Sterling or Michael Owen, I do not use it lightly. Raheem Sterling is the player, I think, who has won the most penalties currently playing. I think if it's not him, he's definitely in the top 2, top 3. Garnacho is developing a skill, and I hope he hangs on to that. The breakthrough that he made versus Everton. Matter of fact, let me make sure this says Man United versus Everton, not City. The breakthrough that he had, I hope he keeps going with it. Garnacho, you deserve an A- for that very, very, very promising performance. He was obviously, again, the most dynamic, the most lively of our attackers. He won the penalties in the first half, and there was another moment that I feel like Bruno played him, and yeah, he didn't have options at that moment in the box, but he decided to go first time and hit it over the goals. But he needs to work on some of his temperament. And now, had that gone in, it would have been 3-0 Man United in the first half. Game done, job done. Well done, Garnacho. Man of the match, unequivocally. But he put that ball off target, and then, when he could have maybe slowed down, waited for more people to arrive in the box, keep the possession ticking. Sometimes it's about being decisive, and sometimes it's about maintaining control of the game. Now, the reason why I'm highlighting this action is because we're 2 goals up. You really do not need to go for an opportunity that you have a very low probability of scoring. But he chose to do that. Had it gone in, thumbs up. Now, it didn't go in. Thumbs down for that, Garnacho. So I'm just going to go ahead and just say you are worthy of man of the match in this performance versus Everton. But Evans just slightly notches it by just getting the A. Your performance is an A. That is just borderline A-. So I'm going to just say, actually, we won. Garnacho A, 1-2 penalties. Come on. I feel like I'm being too harsh giving him an A-. This guy did well, and it rubbed off onto Rashford. And I want to recognize that and applaud that. So big shout out to you. Scott McTominay, Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, Alejandro Garnacho, Kobe Mainoo, Casemiro, Lindelof, Johnny Evans, Varane, Dalo, and Onana. Really, really good team performance. And somebody else that I want to mention, I know Willie Kambwala came in versus Man United versus Man City, but really the notable sub is Amrabat. He came in and did a solid, more assuring performance. More assuring. How do you spell assuring? More assuring performance than the one versus Manchester City. You know, so I want to just give him his flowers and say, all right, Amra, business, keep doing it. B's performance will turn into a B plus and eventually an A minus. The last but not least, we have to give it to the one and only until Eric Ten Hag. Eric Ten Heisenberg, he obviously, I don't want to say great selection because he just did a copy and paste of the previous game. As you saw, I didn't need to change the spreadsheet that much. But what I want to say is like, he could have hit he could have done a little bit better in terms of bringing in some substitutions that you know affected the game even more, put the game to bed. Because let's be honest, this game was wide open even after 36 minutes when we were 2-0 up. Everton kept on, asking us questions. There was a moment, a phase of play, I remember actually the ball going from one side, just across our goals, passing Dominic Calvert-Lewin. This was when Calvert-Lewin was in for Beto. And then it will come back again across the goals to the next, and had that one goal gone in, it would have been a very nervy ending at Old Trafford. I can promise you that. But in terms of the manager's performance and manager's handling of the game, I want to say pretty much waiting until the 79th minute to make your substitution makes me wonder, do you really know, like, is it because you trust the 11 so much that you want them to play as much as possible and try and manage the game? Or is it because you do not have options in the bench? Now, if it was the first one, true, then I would understand. But he took out Kobe Mainoo in the 79th minute, brought in Amrabat, who came in and was decent. Will look like, he didn't look off the pace or scared just the way he was versus Manchester City. He took out, he went on maybe a few minutes later, took out Alejandro Garnacho and put in Anthony, who was more like meh. Anthony's performance was meh. But and also took out Johnny Evans for Willie Kambwala. And that was way too late in the 89th minute. And I think at this time around, it's more about slowing the game down, game management. And that part of it, I understand. If you're bringing in players when added time is about to be displayed and so forth, you're just trying to slow the game down and make sure that the opposition do not gain a last-minute push of momentum. I understand that. That part I will commend. But the fact that you have to wait till 79th minute, man, come on, Eric Ten Hag. Get out of here, you can do better. We got other players in the bench that are dying for, just to showcase what they can do. Of course, I'm talking about Amad Diallo. What was Amad Diallo done? You could have put in Toby Collier. Let's see what the little kid can do if it's all about game management and just putting in subs right at the end of the game to slow it down. That is how I'm going to view Eric Ten Hag and say subs were not effective, yes, again, or use of subs this time around. His use of subs was not the most prudent. And I want to see what Amad Diallo can do. So hashtag free Amad. I'm gonna give him a B plus. Eric Ten Hag is the grade. We got the 3 points at the end. It's context. So I want to know what you think about this performance. What do you think about these grades? It is a game that happened over the weekend. I know we've had 24 hours plus 48 hours to sit on it, and now this is my take on it. What do you think? Do you agree or disagree? Let me know. And also, if there's any other big talking point that I missed in the game, this is the time to do it in the comment section. My name is Botswana Papi, by the way. These are the grades, and the grades look good at the end of the day because we got the 3 points. Let's applaud our boys for that. And also give you your accolades for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Today, we are obviously watching some Champions League football. Let us enjoy, hopefully, Arsenal tears versus Porto. It's going to be a big game. I can't wait. I can't wait. I will catch you guys in a moment. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to somebody else. Drink more water. Get yourself some more sleep. And yeah, I appreciate you again one more time. I never want to stop saying that because it is true. Football power out.